Now coming to this sectoral contribution to overall gross value added. Okay, this is a supply side. Earlier we have seen the demand side, the supply side, gross value added growth. Just for your knowledge, you keep in mind, okay, this is the sectoral. See, instead of this is actually the sectoral contribution to overall growth. Read the heading carefully. These are the different sectors: services, industry, agriculture. How these three sectors is contributing to the overall growth. In the year 14-15, or in almost every year, services, green color is services. Services as well as industry used to be the major factor for the GDP growth. The role of agriculture was minimal. See, 14-15 and 15-16. But the contribution of agriculture improved in the year 16-17, 17-18 compared to these. But one consistent trend you can see in all the previous year till 1920, services was the major contributing factor and followed by industry. But in 1920, things started changing. Okay, this one of the reasons for slowdown. One of the reasons for slowdown in 1920 is it is the fall in service sector, means the contribution of service sector come down, especially the industrial thing. Industry is contribution very low. But agriculture contributed better in 1920 than the industry in the growth. Okay, but what happened in 2021? Who has helped? Agriculture only helped. Other two, especially service sector and industry, declined drastically. This is how the three sector contributed to growth. The second figure is the share in gross value added. Share in gross value added. Okay, the share in gross value added of the three sectors, which one is having the highest share? Services. You can say that, okay, nearly 44%, okay, if you are taking 2021. See, the share in gross value added of agriculture improved from 18 to 20. Industry reduced from 27 to 26. Services reduced from 55 to 54. Okay, I already told you already UPSC asked a question, the three they have given service sector, industry and agriculture. So what is the decreasing order? First is services, followed by industry, followed by agriculture. Okay, this you keep in mind. Now, so it is saying that industry and service, industry contracted by 9.6%, services contracted by 8.8%. So both contracted. But agriculture did not contract. Very important point. Okay, this itself a question. They will say that, okay, which of these have contracted in 2021? Industry, agriculture, services. So once you know that agriculture have not contracted, see, by reading economic survey you will get that information. Otherwise you will be confused to know it. Okay. Now within the industry, now they can ask this question. Okay. See, agricultural includes agriculture and allied activity. Okay. So this fishing, forestry, everything will come under agricultural activity. So within industry, there are many sub-components are there. So you should, from this you learn it. Okay. Industrial sector, it's saying that within industry, mining comes under industrial sector. Mining is coming under industry. So within industry, mining contracted by 12.4%, manufacturing contracted by 9.4%, construction contracted by 12.6%. From this what you get to know? Construction, manufacturing, mining, everything is under the industry. All the three contracted. And utility sector, electricity, gas and water supply, they are basically the utility sector. That is also coming under industry. So within industry, the utility sector have shown a positive growth, 2.7%. See, there are four components in the industrial sector. What are the four components? The largest one is manufacturing. Manufacturing declined. Mining declined. Then construction declined. But utility sector, that is electricity, gas and water supply, it's showing a positive growth. So overall industry have contracted by 9.6% in the year 2021. Now within the services sector, this sector, that is trade, hotels, transport and communication, have contracted by 24.4%. Okay. See, this is one of the service. See, human to human contact sectorally was largely affected by lockdown. Yes or no? Online services was not affected. Still you can purchase the online, but with some restrictions. Okay, so it's not, I'm saying economic survey saying. Okay, anyway, this trade, hotels, everything is what? Restaurant, you were sitting, hotel or transport, everything is human interaction is, human to human contact is high. So that's the reason why this sector, this is a group in services, trade, hotel, transport, that have been suffered the lot. And a positive growth in value addition is seen in the second half to this sector. First sector, it is contracted. Second sector, there has been value addition to this particular sector. So this will result in a modest, from negative growth to high negative growth to a small positive growth of 0.3% is expected for this sector, that is trade, hotels, transport and communication. Then regarding the agricultural sector, okay, then so we discussed that industry and services have been affected. Now coming back to agricultural sector, for the agricultural sector, the growth is pegged at a steady 3.4% in both the halves. In the first half and in the second half, agricultural sector will grow by 3.4%. So generally the overall growth will be 3.4%. Industry sector has staged a robust recovery in the second half with a positive growth of 1.1 as against a sharp decline of 20.5. See, facts you don't see. Economic survey have given a lot of facts. You just see the trend only. You need not to don't study these facts. If there is a fact which is very important, I will stress that you note down. And coming to the within the industry, I told you there is a decline, but within the industry, manufacturing sector is expected to recover by 0.5%. Okay, in the second half compared to the first half. Now this is very, very important. See, this is how we can measure national income from the supply side. That is, from the supply side, it is gross value added. So these are the major 8 components. These are the major 8 components. These are the major 8 components of our national income. First one is agriculture. These are this H1 and this orange color is H1, green color is H2. They are taking both the half of financial year 2021. Okay. So agriculture, first one, they have grown by 3.4%. Mining, see, mining have not still fully recovered, minus 17.2 and then minus 8.3. Manufacturing improved, utilities improved, construction improved. So with these 4, industry is over. This is the industrial sector. Then the 3 services sector, that is trade, hospitality, transport, communication, it's still not fully recovered. Why? It has not fully recovered human to human contact. Okay, you might have seen that. Okay, now also, see, earlier people used to use public transport, but now also we are hesitant. So private transport increased like anything. People who are never used to use car, now they are using it because they are still, that fear is there. I have not traveled in train after this lockdown. I feel that, okay, is it safe to travel in train? Okay, if I want to go to Trivandrum, I'll go by car only. Okay, that because we don't know what is this, how it will come. We don't know because many are strangers for you, especially when you travel. Many people are strangers. Okay. Anyway, then, but look into this sector, financial services. What is financial? Major financial services, banking and other insurance, other sector. Okay, that has recovered, or real estate, because the even compared to this sector, human to human contact or another professional services, so from a decline it improved. It went into positive territory. So compared to this service sector, here human to human contact is comparatively lesser. And the third one is public administration and other defense related services that also have improved. So the three major category under services is, one is trade and transport or category. Second is financial services category. Third one is public administration and other related services category. So these are the 8 component, and the gross value added in the first half is negative, but gross value added in the second half is showing a small positive growth by taking all the 8 components. Okay. Now it's saying that this electricity and construction sector registered a V-shaped recovery. See, what is this V-shaped recovery? From negative growth to higher growth. Electricity and construction registered V-shaped recovery. That is a recovery with a growth of 7.1% and 4.4% in the second half compared to a negative growth in the first half. Then the major brunt of the pandemic, this is what I'm saying, okay, the major brunt of the pandemic has been borne by the contact sensitive service sector. Contact sensitive service sector contracted by 15.5% in the first half, and it is again contracting by 1.1% in the second half. Not that important, just note down, okay. Now this trade, hotels, transport and communication constituting 1/3 of all the services. It is saying, economic service says that out of the services, 1/3 is this category. It contracted by 31.5 in the first half and estimate to contract by 12% in the second half. We have seen it, okay. So it's also saying that economy was adversely impacted by this unprecedented crisis. This is a crisis, once in a century crisis, caused by the pandemic in the first quarter. So the major impact was there in the first quarter, with gradual unlocking and the able support of the government in the form of Atmanirbhar, okay. This economy steadily rebounded to pre-pandemic levels. And if we look into the data of high frequency indicators, suggest that there have been a growing convergence with the previous year. See pre-lockdown and the post-lockdown period, okay. Now we are comparing the growth rate of different sectors. So many sectors in the second half started showing to the pre-lockdown level, okay. So it's a good sign. So the sharp contraction in the first half is expected to be covered by a broad means in every sector, resurgent growth in the second half of the year. We have seen it with that figure. Now this is a very interesting concept this economic survey is saying. This can be a question, hysteresis. Okay, economic survey says that beyond its short-term impact, okay, we had the deep recession, okay, we had a deep recession. Why? It went to minus 23.9, that is deep, okay, and again very high in the second quarter also, okay. So this deep recession triggered by the pandemic have a risk of leading to hysteresis. So this word is mentioned, this concept is mentioned in the economic survey. So they can ask, what do you mean by hysteresis? Hysteresis actually is an economic phenomenon. Okay, it just says that. Okay, I'll explain you an example, then you'll understand this concept. Okay, you know that once the government imposed a lockdown, many people lost the job. Okay, see, lockdown was announced. Many companies, they could not able to function. So in order to make it viable, in order to reduce their expenditure, they tried their best. They either reduce their staff, plus for the existing staff they reduce their salary. So there have been high unemployment during this lockdown period. But once the economy started recovering. See, from a negative growth rate, economy is improving to a positive growth rate, and it is improving. But the unemployment level is not reducing. Okay, so even after the event which triggered the crisis have gone. But still, that crisis there, that effect is what is called as hysteresis. Okay, so it's hysteresis is an event in the economy. It is an event in the economy that persists. An event in the economy that persists even after the factor that led to the event has been removed. The factor which have led to that event is not there, but that event is still continuing. You can take the example of this unemployment. Okay, hysteresis, for example, the delayed effect of unemployment, where unemployment rate continues to rise even after the economy has recovered. Okay, hysteresis. Okay, so the government don't want such type of things to happen in India. Whenever there is a deep recession, hysteresis can come. The government how to foresee it, and government is trying its best. That's the reason why one of the things, see why government is spending huge in capital expenditure, why government is incentivizing the state to promote capital expenditure. Now why the government want the private sector, now you understand why the government want the private sector to introduce, because the gross capital formation or the gross fixed capital formation is, who is investing it? That is higher than the government. It's the private sector. So this corporate tax cut was aimed at that, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So it will happen now. Okay, so the reforms will help. There are many reforms the government is taking. Okay, will help in reducing the possibility of hysteresis. The recovery would be regarded as having avoided from the recovery. We are saying that the survey says that the recovery which we are seeing, we believe that it has avoided hysteresis. Okay, when the economy regains the pre-COVID output path. This is very important. Okay, when the economy pre-COVID and post-COVID. Okay, so we know that how the economy was growing during the pre-COVID era. Okay, and so what the government is expecting, that the economy will regain the pre-COVID output, and it will back to the potential growth. Actually, that I'll show it with a figure. Now this is very, 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 very important. Write down. This is a fact, very important fact. In the last 5 years, that is 5 years before the lockdown, you will never forget this year, lockdown financial year. You should not. Okay. So before that 5 year, the average economic, see, the average growth, average GDP growth in India, in the last 5 year before this lockdown period is, financial year is, so the last 5 years our economy was growing at 6.7%. This is the pre-COVID output. And we know that in 2021 we had a negative GDP growth of 7.7%. Now the economic survey says that this year, this is a recovery year, 21-22. In this year, there will be a sharp recovery. In 21-22, there will be a sharp recovery of real GDP growth of, it is saying that the GDP growth in 21-22 will be between 10 to 12%. And it is because of, why there is, say we are entering into a double digit growth, but it's nothing good news. This double digit growth is because of low base effect. The previous year is negative. From a minus 7.7 we are comparing. So this 10 is not, so it is because of a low base effect, and also because of why there is high growth, inherent strength in our economy. It is assumed that the economy grows after the 21. So in 21-22 the economy will grow around between 10 to 12%, and 22-23 in assumed, it's all our assumption. It is assumed that the economy grows at a trend growth rate of, we know the trend growth. So it is believed that in 22-23 the economy will grow at 6.5%, and in the next year 23-24 the economy grow at 7%, provided India goes into many structural reforms. One structural reform we discuss, corporate tax reforms, Similarly, see, agrarian reforms, all the government, see, this agrarian reform is actually good for the economy, but unfortunately the implementation failed. Government could not able to convince the farmers. Anyway, I'm not going to that part. Okay, so many reforms is happening. So this has to be implemented, including the many, government is promoting manufacturing, government is coming with productivity linked scheme. See this Atmanirbhar, this Atmanirbhar, this word, okay, it's basically talking about self-reliance. And that's actually, I do not understand why they are using so much of Hindi words in all the packages, okay, very difficult. Anyway, leave it. So this concept of self-reliance, okay, actually will not be depending on anyone. We will produce everything in India. That is basically this package beginning its own offer. I'll say that's why if you remember the corporate tax cut, why very low tax of 15% for new manufacturing industries. Now you understood why the government have done it. So once this especially the corporate tax reforms, and there are many schemes the government, it's a very important current affair, productivity linked scheme for manufacturing and other sectors. So the government is trying its best to bring many reforms, including the tax reforms. Okay, so we'll see that. Okay, so definitely this is a pessimistic growth, but if things goes well, we can have much a higher rate. See, we should not grow at this range. We should grow at least 10%, double percent. But actually, we need the situation to improve. Then only your salary will also increase. When you join the services, okay. So now, there are two scenarios economic survey is saying. There are two scenarios, okay. I told you because it's all assumption. In the year 21-22, the economy can grow either 10% or 12%. So the two scenarios they are taking. The scenario 1, if GDP grows by 12% in the year 21-22 and followed by 6.5% in 22-23, 7% in 23-24. So it is showing. So this blue color you note down. Output without crisis. What is output? It is GDP. GDP is an output. Blue color is output without crisis. Orange is output path with crisis. Now you take this year during the global financial crisis period. This was the year where we had earlier crisis. But that time in the global financial crisis period, the government went with fiscal stimulus measures. But the difference that time and this time, that time there was only slowdown. Global financial crisis led to slowdown only, no recession. But this time the pandemic related crisis resulted in deep recession. Okay, so just making a comparison between a normal growth and this crisis led growth. So the difference between the growth without crisis and growth with crisis was very less, and we came to normal very soon. By 2010-11, see, we touched the normal path. But see, this is scenario 1 where the GDP will grow at 12% in the year 21-22. Scenario where GDP will grow at 10% in 21-22. 12 and 10, but remaining is same. Remaining the previous. What they are saying is that, okay, so if there was no crisis, the GDP might have grown like this. Looking into this is the index of real GDP. But, so the difference, see the difference, okay, we are taking the year 23-24. There is a difference, see, here it joined. In 23-24 also, see, if the economy is growing at 12% in 21-22, this difference according to surveys, if you take the 12% growth scenario, India would be 91.5% below the trend level of output. What is the trend level of output? This is the trend level of output, blue one. Below with the trend level of output, it is saying that in the year 23-24, when you reach the 23-24, India's GDP growth will be only not the 100%, but 90. It will be up to 91.5% if the GDP is growing at 12%. But if the GDP is growing at 10%, it will be 90%. This fact they will not ask. Okay, so just I'm telling that economic survey is projecting a GDP growth figure like the budget have projected fiscal deficit figure. Now, so since the government we talked about hysteresis, okay? Since the government have recognized the chance of the economy moving into hysteresis, why? We had a deep recession, okay? So government recognized the potential hysteresis effect on the pandemic on Indian economy, and in order to avoid India from this particular effect, in order to prevent this potential hysteresis effect on the economy, government have taken a comprehensive reform program. And see, those who have not seen, I shared it through a video only regarding that fiscal reforms, okay, the first economic survey video. Those who have not watched it, now you watch it, because it is many times this is being measured and this has been mentioned in the economic survey, okay. So the structural reforms, government went with a comprehensive reform program, okay. The structural reforms and the policy push under the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission is basically aimed at strengthening the fundamentals so that there will be no hysteresis effect on Indian economy, okay, which should put India on a strong growth path once the economy recovers, okay. And these reforms need to be sustained. See, the reforms has to be and the growth has to be sustained, then only we can reach our potential growth. See, this is not our potential growth, this is our previous growth, but our potential is double digit, about 10%. In mains, you have to suggest all these things, okay. Now, one interesting point, one concept here I will explain to you. The policy emphasize that with the expansion of public investment, what is public investment? Government investment. With the expansion of government investment, it will result in crowd in private investment. There's a concept called crowding in and crowd out. See, when the government increases expenditure in infrastructure and other areas, the private sector will be they will be motivated. In the budget, there was an announcement regarding monetization of many government assets like tolls. Okay, see what the government will do. Government will initially take this and will create the necessary environment and will ask the private sector to come. For example, land acquisition. It's a risky thing. Environmental clearance and basic infrastructure like electricity, good roads will be provided by the government. So once you have good roads, electricity, net connection, now this is also very important. Data connectivity is a very important basic thing. Okay, then naturally there will be more private investment. So the government that's the basic idea behind government expenditure. Capital expenditure, not revenue expenditure. Okay, so the policy saying that with the expansion of public investment, so crowd in, crowd out means private sector moving away. So along with that, deregulation. See, privatization of private banks. See, government is selling public sector enterprises. Okay, wherever the government have regulated, they are now not regulating. Okay, government saying that we will be only focusing on few strategic sectors. Rest private sector can activate. Okay, so deregulation as well as liberalization of sectors is based at improving the business environment. Why the government is improving the business environment? In order to attract this capital investment. So through capital investment only, our economy can grow. To unlock the entrepreneurial energies as well as to increase the risk appetite of private investors. Okay, so that's the reason why ease of doing business reforms all have been taken up. Private sector needs to partner the government. Private sector need to partner the government in minimizing the disruptive impact of the pandemic on the economy. Government alone can't do anything because we are now a capitalist economy. When India became a capitalist economy? 1991. Okay. So it says that after the this estimated contraction in 2021, India's real GDP is projected to grow at approximately 11%, that is between 10 to 11. So that is real GDP, 11% is real GDP, and nominal GDP growth is 15.4. So what will be the expected inflation in that period? If you know real GDP and nominal GDP, we can calculate inflation difference. That is the price differential is the difference between real GDP and nominal GDP. Na? 15.4, 11%. Inflation is expected around 4.4%. So this conservative estimate reflect the upside potential the country can have once there is normalization, especially with the rollout of this COVID. See, because with from January 2021 onwards, vaccine production started and it is rollout of vaccine. So with this, we are expecting that there will be normality in economic activity, as well as supply side push from reforms and easing of regulation, including push to infrastructural investment, boost to manufacturing sector like productivity linked incentive scheme. This is a very, very, very important scheme. I will deal it in your current affair. Productivity linked incentive scheme. I am expecting a question. Then recovery of pent up demand for service sector. There have been a huge fall in the service sector. A pent up demand means sudden increase in the demand for service sector. Increase in the discretionary consumption subsequent to the rollout of the vaccine and pickup in credit will give adequate liquidity and low interest rate. Okay, so we are having a good. See, currently the interest rate is low. Banks will, once the economy start normal, will provide you loan, and also your income will improve, and in that way economy will recover, and both the expenditure, private expenditure as well as the investment expenditure will improve, and in that way we can realize the potential. But if this reforms taken by the government is sustained, we can, which the economy have not discussing, I am saying that we can move on to double digit growth rate. Okay, that you have to mention in your answers. So this path would ensure, this is one interesting thing what you need to note down is that, okay, we said that in 2011, so 21-22, the GDP will grow by 11%. But this GDP, this part, see the difference between, 19, 20, 21 and 21-22. We'll see that actually, I'll show you a figure, okay. This figure you note down, this figure, 1920. What is the value of GDP in 1920? 146 lakh crore. Due to minus 7.7 growth rate, what it is? 134. And due to if there is 11% growth rate, it will become 149 lakh crore. So even after having 11% growth in 21-22 compared to this year, see this 11% growth is compared to this year, not to this year. That's why I'm telling you, that is low base effect. So what the survey is saying that, so there is this is actually note down, okay. This path we have seen growth in real GDP so the real GDP growth is only 2.4%. When you compare it with the absolute level when you compare this GDP value with this 1920, the growth is only 2.4%. But normally how we compare? We compare with the previous year. That's the reason why we got 11% growth. This is what it's saying that, okay, implying that the economy would take 2 years to reach and go past the pre-pandemic level. So we need 2 years to go and pass the pre-pandemic level. This is the pre-pandemic level. So 2021, 22, we need 2 years to go past the pre-pandemic level. It's very important, okay. With this we are ending it, okay. So just again, this is very important. This figure is very, very, very important because it is showing the growth rate, GDP growth rate. Write down GDP growth rate. In 2016-17, what is the GDP growth rate? In 8.3. 2016-17 GDP growth rate is 8.3. Value, I told you, value is not important. You should only remember this value, the recent value. Growth is, otherwise growth rate is important. From 8.3 growth rate in 17-18, it reduced to 7%. 18-19 it is 6.1, but it was revised. Please note down. When this was revised, this was also revised. This 18-19 was revised to 6.5. Write down. Economic survey 6.1, but the real latest data says 6.5. 19-20 economic survey 4.2, but real now it is 4%. So if you are taking the real data, there is a continuous decline in the 4-year. There is a steady decline. No? There is a steady decline. 8.3, 7, 6.5, 4. There is a decline is there. But from 4, what is this? A sharp fall. A sharp decline. A drastic decline. This word can be used for. Normally when we say this is wrong, this is correct for 2021. Drastic decrease. From 4% or 4.2%, whichever you are taking, whether you are taking economic survey or the latest data. Okay. So be very clear that it's sure that we will grow at 11%. There is no doubt about it. But further, after that, how much we grow will make the real difference. And these projections of which is mentioned in the economic survey are in line with IMF. IMF also, try to understand, IMF also estimate India's GDP, not only India's, all the countries' GDP, their members' GDP. IMF estimate that India's real GDP will grow 11.5 in 21-22 and 6.8 in 22-23. If that happens, if 21-22 and 22-23, if India is growing in that way, India will come back as the fastest growing economy in the next 2 years. IMF is saying that in 21-22 and 22-23, India will become the fastest growing economy. Fastest growing, I'll say larger economy. Among the major economies, India will be the fastest growing economy. These words are important. If that happens, obviously it will happen. Now just with this last PPT, because I have this last, but one important information is there. Otherwise I might have skipped this. It's not that important, but it is talking about a COVID network, a COVID vaccine intelligence network. Okay. So anyway, I'd say it's about actually COVID only. Since it's mentioned in the economic survey along with this economic recovery. Note down the new year have started with the approval of COVID-19 vaccine and initiation of vaccination. And in India, 2 indigenously manufactured vaccines were approved and we started a mega vaccination drive. This write down very important. There is a network is there, CoWIN. They can ask you, CoWIN system or CoWIN which is in news is related with what? CoWIN is nothing but COVID Vaccine Intelligence Network. And this system, it's an intelligence network, it's a network system, it's a data. It's a digitalized platform. CoWIN is a digitalized platform which is having real-time information of vaccine stocks, their storage temperature, as well as individualized tracking of beneficiaries. Those people who have got the vaccine, their name, their data will be there in this, on a real-time basis, will be there in the CoWIN system. So they can ask you what is this system, or they can ask you what all it is having, what all information is this network is having, or digital platform is having. And it also saying that, survey is also saying that India became the fastest country to roll out 10 lakh vaccines in a matter of 6 days. India also have emerged as the leading supplier of vaccine to various countries, including India started exporting vaccines to Brazil and Morocco. All are mentioned in the economic survey. Please note it. Okay. So it is saying that economics with this CoWIN system, and also keep in mind we are not only producing for our country, we are also exporting it. Okay, that information you keep in mind. So you can see that one African country and as well as in Latin American country. So the swift rollout of the vaccine gives strength to an optimism both on health as well as economic front. Because see, people should be given confidence to go out. So after vaccination, the people will feel that because they will have a much better immunity to this vaccination. Okay, then they will go and mingle or interact with people, especially we told you, the contact sensitive sectors all will recover once this, everybody will be having this immunity booster. Okay, so there is an hope, igniting hopes of a robust recovery in service sector, in private consumption as well as in investment. So if the economy have to recover and to have a high growth path, the service sector as well as industry, especially in industry manufacturing, have to grow at a higher rate, as well as from the supply, this is from the supply side, that is, but from the demand side, we have to improve the private consumption as well as investment, private investment. Already government investment is there, but there is a limit for government investment. Okay, from this, at least I am expecting a question, either directly or indirectly. With this knowledge, you can easily answer it. Definitely, UPSC have to ask a question. Okay, thank you.